year has been challenging, but looking forward to the year ahead is good. So welcome everybody. I just kind of realized that I've been doing this for, you know, the last, well, since the first lockdown, and so it's been good. It's been a way to, you know, get me to share and to sing and to learn more stories, to be able to share them. So it's really been a gift and a challenge as well, because I really miss being around people. There's this energy that you get when you're around people, this energy that you get when you're sharing and teaching songs and really having those reactions, and I really miss that, and I can't wait until we can do that in person and in community again. So but of course, to just welcome everybody into the circle today, I always love to do that land acknowledgement, which is more than just those words. It's really a sense of place, it's a sense of being, it's understanding where you are and how you got here, where your family is from and where they are now. It's also recognizing the families that have been here for thousands upon thousands of generations. No matter where you are, you're on Indigenous land, and there are Indigenous stories there, there's Indigenous teachings there, and it's a blessing to be able to learn those things and to be able to grow, because all of those stories, they teach us so much about ourselves, just like ceremony teaches us so much about ourselves. So it's really important that we understand and maintain the stories of the land that we're on, but also the stories of the land that we're from. And so I honor where I live, which is in Mohlinstis, which is in Treaty 7 territory in Calgary. And this is the land of the Blackfoot Confederacy of Siksika, Kainai, and Pagani. It's also the land of the Sarsidane people of Tsutsina and the Stoney Nakoda from Morley, which includes Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. All of those nations have so many wonderful stories and so many wonderful songs and teachings and ceremonies and incredible people that have just inspired me in so many ways to just dig deeper and learn more and to participate in community in a meaningful way. And it's been just such a blessing and a gift to learn from so many different elders and knowledge keepers. And I know I say that every week, but it is so true. It really resonates. And it's been a hard year because we have lost some incredible knowledge keepers and elders this year and this past year. But you know, it leaves space for other people to step into those roles. And I know that life is a cycle, and so we have to understand that it will continue to go on and on and on, even though it feels like our world is ending. When we lose someone, it's really important to acknowledge that they have to move on to the next chapter, and we do as well. And so just to acknowledge that and acknowledge that circle that we're all a part of, I love to share the Cree welcome song. Traditionally, when we sing songs, we sing in rounds of 4 to honor the 4 directions of the medicine wheel. But this song is a little different. We do sing it in rounds of 3, and that's to keep the circle open and welcoming so everyone completes the circle today. Because in a circle, we're all connected. There's no beginning, there's no end. No one is greater or less than anyone else in the circle, just like in the hoop of life. So it teaches us to honor each other for those differences, because if we were all exactly the same, the world would be incredibly boring and nothing would ever get done. So we need those differences. We need all of those teachings to bring people together in a meaningful way. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to agree 100% of the time, but it's when we can come to that point of compromise and when we can truly see eye to eye, that's where those bridges are built, and that's where those connections thrive. And so it's really important to honor that and come into a situation and come into a circle without judgment, just to be open, your heart, your mind, your spirit, and just your very being to be open to learn. And this song really honors that. It honors that welcoming atmosphere of a circle, that welcoming atmosphere of community, and how every person in that community is important. There is no greater or less than. We are all one in that community, in that circle. And so Miyasin teaches us that. Miyasin being the Cree welcome song. It is from the Natahau family from Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation. And I really thank them for keeping this song alive so that I'm able to share it. This song just has so much meaning for me, and it has guided me on my journey, and so I'm very thankful to be able to share this song. And I'm very humbled for the roots that it has come from. And so I honor that family for keeping this song and the story alive and the teachings behind it. And so Miyasin, it doesn't just mean welcome, it also means beautiful. I'm going to stand up to sing. Miasin, miasen, hasemina, hasemina, epetakote, iwagomaga. Hota homa kitaskino miasen miasen hasemina hasemina epetakote iwagomagan hota homa kitaskino miasin miasen hasemina hasemina hepetakote iwagomagan hota homa kitaskino. Hi, and welcome to the circle, everyone. So, I have been busy trying to refresh my space and trying to, make those changes energetically and space-wise. And so I'm trying to get used to my new setup. I don't have my beautiful curtains behind me anymore, and I didn't really realize how much sound they actually absorb. So when I was singing, I was echoing and it was freaking me out a little bit. So it was like the ancestors were really singing with me. And usually they do, but not to that volume. So it was a blessing. But as we kind of move forward, I just wanted to talk a wee bit about the smudge because I always love to start with a smudge. And I think it's important to distinguish the difference between a ceremonial smudge and a public smudge. So a public smudge is one that we can do all together in community, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in ceremony. It's a way to cleanse, it's a way to bring people together, but it's also just something we can do daily. It's like our own little personal ceremony that we can do daily out in the world if we need to. It's something that we can share with everybody. Whereas a ceremonial smudge, it has different medicines in it often, or it has different meanings and different ways that we have to adhere to, different protocols that we have to adhere to. And so when I share, I do a public smudge. So this is open to everyone. So hopefully at home you can smudge along with me. But it's really about asking for the things that you need and getting rid of the things that you don't. It's asking for the healing and the prayers that you need, asking for the healing of yourself. Don't forget to pray for yourself. It's really, really important to do that. But it's really about honoring your physical body, your mental being, your emotional being, and your spiritual being, and remembering that they're all one and the same. They're all interconnected, and you can't have one without the other. And so what smudging does is it reminds us of that balance that we need to maintain, and it helps us to clear away anything that's kind of bogging us down. Whenever I'm really stressed out and I smudge, I feel like a million times better. And there's been times when I'll forget to smudge for a couple of days just because I get so busy and I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I like so on edge? And then I'm like, oh right, I haven't smudged, and then I'll smudge and I'll just be like, so much better. So it's just a blessing to be able to share it. And I know that some some people's teachings are, well, we can't smudge in public, or we can't smudge online. But my teachings are slightly different. There are different levels of ceremony. There's different levels of smudging. There's different ways that we can share our medicines, and there's different things about the medicines that we can share. I don't go as in depth into the medicines online per se as I do when I'm doing like medicine wheel workshop, where I'm actually digging into the spiritual significance of the medicines, the stories of the medicines, and more of the medicinal uses of the medicines. Although it's really important to honor cedar, especially this time of year, because cedar really does get us through the winter, because it's so jam-packed with vitamins and minerals and nutrients. But we're not the only culture that actually uses cedar. There's different kinds of cedar trees around the world, and many different indigenous cultures would use it in the winter as well, for the same reason, because it's so jam-packed with vitamins and minerals. It's antibacterial and antibiotic and antifungal and antiviral, and it's just amazing all around. So if you're feeling unwell, all you have to do is have a cup of it, and it usually helps boost your immune system, or helps fight any bugs that might be trying to work their way out. And so this is why I love cedar so much. Just a brief overview of how I've laid out my medicines. I'm OG Cree, so I have it kind of laid out in that style. But depending on where we're from, our teachings might be different. And so I can only share what I know. But this is why it's really, really important to learn from many different elders, many different knowledge keepers, because many people have different views of the medicine wheel. We'll have different uses. We'll have even different medicines in the different corners, different colors in the different corners of the medicine wheel. And it's not right or wrong. It's just different. It's finding what works for you. It's not about being rigid with your teachings. It's about being open and helping people find their path. And so if I can do that, that's really important. And so just a quick little overview. On my medicine wheel, we start in the east, because that's where grandfather sun rises every morning. In the east, we have sweetgrass. Oh, I just love this. I was gifted this recently, and I'm really thankful. This is like a huge variety of sweetgrass that I was gifted, but it's just beautiful, and it smells so amazing. I have all of my sweetgrass in a bundle by my door, so as soon as I walk into my bedroom, all I smell is this big waft of sweetgrass. It's just like, there's something just really beautiful and calming and grounding, but really energizing at the same time about sweetgrass. In Blackfoot territory, they use tons and tons and tons of sweetgrass, so I've been gifting a lot of sweetgrass to elders and knowledge keepers as I've seen them, simply because we didn't really have a very good harvest for sweetgrass this year. So hopefully the weather turns and changes and gets better, so we'll have a better harvest this year coming up. So but sweetgrass in the east, it governs our mind, and so it helps us really think clearly. So anytime you're really like stressed, like, so whenever I get anxiety, I smudge with sweetgrass, and it really does help my mind just calm down. Same with my kids. Whenever both my boys have autism, and I've taken two girls in, and they both have had some challenges with ADHD. And honestly, I have worked with so many kids across so many different spectrums, and when we smudge with sweetgrass, it really does change their brains. It makes them really focus and calm, and able to really handle everything a little bit better, which is great. And so if you can give the kids those tools in a really natural and beautiful way, I think that's the best gift. And so that's sweetgrass, that's the mind, that's the spring, the morning. It's where we start our day, it's where we start our lives, it's where we start everything. So that's why children are there. In the west, in the south, we have our beautiful cedar. Again, I've been drinking, at least a cup of cedar tea a week, because in the winter you kind of need that extra vitamins and minerals, and you want to fight off any kind of coughs and colds. But I've been incredibly healthy, so, but I actually don't think I've been full on like sick for several years, just because I have had cedar in my back pocket, and anytime I'm starting to feel a little unwell, I'll, make some cedar tea, and I'll pray on it, and I'll drink it, and I'll feel like so much better. So I've been good, which is good. So the color there I have is red. It's connected to our body, which makes sense that it's good for our body no matter what season it's in. It's in the summertime, because that's when we spend most of our time outside, and that's when our body, as well as all of our plants and animals, grow to fruition. And so we honor the south, and that's the cedar. In the west, which is what I will be smudging with, we have sage. So I'm smudging with sage today, sage being the women's medicine, because it's universal. You can use it at any time. And those are just my teachings. Some people say when a woman is in her moon time, we're really strong and powerful when we're on our moon time. Very intuitive, very connected to the moon. And so we won't go to mixed ceremonies when we're on our moon time. And my teachings, if we're on our moon time, we can smudge with sage, but not with sweetgrass, because sweetgrass, being the men's medicine, our female energy will overwhelm that medicine. And so this is why we kind of take a step back from those mixed ceremonies, because we're already going through the ceremonies, so why double up? All right. Oh, it smells so good. Oh my gosh, that smells so good. Somebody had just gifted me some more sage, and I just absolutely love that smell when you pull the sage off the stem and then you roll it in your hands, because it unlocks the oils that are actually in the leaves, which, whoops, I'm going to drop it all over my skirt. My beautiful ribbon skirt. This is the first ribbon skirt I ever made. And it was just a gift to be able to do it myself. Although it's pretty narrow, so I gotta walk in short steps. And so there is my beautiful sage. Oh, it smells so good. Sage is the women's medicine. It's connected to water. It's connected to Grandmother Moon, because of course Grandmother Moon's in the west, Grandfather Sun's in the east. It's all about balance. It reminds us that we're a balance of masculine and feminine. We're a balance of our head and our mind, our head and our heart and our body and our spirit. We have to be those balanced. And really honor and appreciate everything around us. So that's what all of these medicines teach us how to do. So even if I'm not using all of the medicines, I always lay them all out to honor them. And then the last medicine we have is tobacco and cansasa, if we're not using tobacco in a specific way. So tobacco is creator's medicine. This is why we use it to pray. We use it to gift back to plants when we take it from the earth. We always ask permission, and we always live in gratitude, and we always give something back, because we've taken, there's going to be nothing left. So you always have to give something back to the earth and to each other, right? It's all about the reciprocal relationships. We come back to that circle again. And so whenever we gift tobacco to an elder or a knowledge keeper, it's to say thank you for sharing that knowledge, or for sharing those stories, or for sharing that wisdom, or, you know, if an elder is saying a prayer, it's so that they can tap into something that's higher than us. And so it's a gift to be able to share that with other people. Whenever I receive tobacco, it's so humbling, and I'm so thankful for that. As long as it's given in a good way, I think you're good to go. Cansasa is more used for a physical medicine, even though it is a spiritual medicine. And so we use it. It's really good for like blood, so like headaches, aches and pains. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's great. I love it. And so hopefully it gets a little bit colder. I'm waiting for the ground to like freeze before I go harvest some kennebec. Because you have to wait for the ground to be completely frozen, so it pushes all the medicines out of the roots and into the branches to get that really vibrant, beautiful red color. And that's when the medicine's the strongest. And so, let us smudge. So there's no right or wrong way to smudge. It's just whatever feels good to you. I always take off my earrings because metal holds energy, and I just want to get rid of that energy. And now I've rearranged my room, so the question is, where did I put my matches? I know I just had some. Oh, they're there. All right. So just a quick brief about the smudge bowl. This is my public smudge bowl. My private smudge bowl, or my ceremony smudge bowl, is like much smaller, because of course when I'm publicly smudging, sometimes I will go entirely around a circle. So I think it's important that we teach things to people so that we have a greater understanding, because through understanding, that's where we build connection and community. And so the bowl itself is a shell to represent water, but you can use anything that holds things, because that represents, you know, holding water. But I use a shell. Some other people will use like a cast iron skillet, or a stone, or a box with sand in it, or whatever. It's whatever holds your medicine. So when you put your medicine in the bowl, it represents earth. because it comes from the earth. When we light it on fire, it represents fire, of course, because you're lighting it on fire. And then the smoke going up to Creator is our birth, so that's our spirit. And it's our way to cleanse, just get rid of anything that we don't need, and ask for the things that you do need. I'm going to do a smudge. There's no right or wrong way. It's just whatever feels good to you. What you might notice is I do use matches. You don't really want to put a lighter directly on it because it's not exactly natural, even though it's natural gas. It's not exactly natural. And so even if you don't have matches, just light like the end of your sage stem before you light your medicines. You'll notice I'm fanning it with my hand. I never blow on it because our breath is our life and our life is precious and we don't waste that for anybody. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to cleanse my hands. So anything that I'm carrying, I can get rid of. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way to do it. My kids, all they usually do is just bring it over their body. They smudge their head, they smudge their heart, they smudge their belly button because that's where your spirit is, and then bring it over their body again, and then they're like, thanks, Mom, and then they move on. But I'm going to do a bit of a longer smudge. So first I bring it over my body 4 times to honor the 4 directions in my body. Maybe a little extra. I smudge my mind so I can think clearly and learn from every person that crosses my path. So I can be open to learn all of the teachings that Creator sends me, but also so I can be open-minded and not rigid with my thinking. I smudge my ears so I can be open to hear all of the messages that Creator sends me, to remind me that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so we can listen twice as much as we speak, so I can be open to hear all of the messages clearly. I smudge my eyes, so I'm very thankful for my vision this lifetime, so I can see all of the beauty in the world around me, because that is a gift. I smudge my nose, so I smell danger, and cookies, and all of my beautiful medicines. I smudge my mouth, so I speak true and kind words that benefit mankind, that are helpful. I always say, is it truthful? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Is it respectful? If it's none of those things, don't say it, don't do it. Smudge my throat, because I'm very thankful for my voice this lifetime, so I can give voice to the voiceless, but also I honor the voice that Creator has gifted me. Smudge my lungs, so I breathe good, clean air. I smudge my heart, so I remain kind and compassionate and show unconditional love to all of those around me, my friends, my family, but also strangers that I've just met. Remember to be kind and compassionate and be gentle, even with myself, because we're pretty bad with ourselves sometimes. I smudge my stomach, so all the food that I eat this day will nourish my body. I smudge my belly button, because that is my spirit, it's my intuition, that's the way that my ancestors speak to me and speak through me, so to always remember to be mindful of that. I'm going to smudge my shoulders and my back, so I can carry all of the responsibilities that Creator's gifted me with grace and humility. I smudge my arms and my hands so I can do the good work that Creator's put me here to do. Also smudge my womanhood, because I'm very thankful to be a woman and a mother in this time. Although I'm a two-spirit woman, I still have been blessed with the ability to bear children, and also to be a guide in my community. And I smudge my legs, so I stay grounded, and I can walk this red road in a good way, and my feet, so I can stay grounded and connected to Mother Earth, treading lightly upon her, honoring her with every step. And then if there is anywhere else that you need a little extra love, like my neck's been really stiff lately, and so is my back, but I think it's just because I've been moving a lot of furniture, not liking it, and then moving it back, and then not liking it, and moving back, and I'm indecisive. I need to be stronger. I wouldn't have to rely on my son to help me move everything. And then hold people in your heart that you need to send that love and appreciation to. So my kids, my friends, my family, all of those that are struggling, who have lost people this year. Sending love and appreciation to all of those in my community, and healing to the people who need it. And then when you're all done, you can say hi, or miigwech, or merci, or grazie, or thank you, or however you say thank you in your language. It's important to honor your language where you're from. And so, so that being said, I'm actually going to share the water song. It's been in my head all day. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the water song. And I appreciate you too, Stacy. Thanks. The water song is, it's funny because when I first heard this, well, I've known that song for a while, and I always called it the rain song, because in it I can hear the rain falling down and then the thunder and the lightning crashing in the storm building. And so that's what I can hear when I hear the song. And when we were at a family reunion, me and my cousins were arguing about what the song was called, because of course that's what cousins do. And my one cousin who, you know, she does a lot of canoeing, she does a lot of fishing, and she's like, no, it's the river song, because you can hear the river flowing, and then you can hear the river getting fast and hitting rapids, and then eventually hitting a huge waterfall, and then being calm again. And then my other cousin, who has been living out in BC for a long time, she's like, no, because she learned it out there. She's like, it's the ocean song, because you can hear the ocean rocking back and forth and back and forth, and the waves crashing, and then it getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and then it calming down again. And so we were arguing, it's the ocean song, it's the river song, it's the rain song. And my auntie comes up behind me and says, what's wrong with you girls? It's the water song. And we're like, oh, we were told. So yes, this is the water song. And in it, you can hear that ebb and that flow. And it reminds us about our own emotions. And it reminds us how, you know, our emotions will ebb and flow, because we don't want to have just one even keel the whole time, or else we would never really appreciate when we're truly happy if we didn't have those lows. And so it teaches us that as we go through our journey, we need those highs and lows really to build who we are and to build those connections and build that community. And it teaches us that tears are important. It's important to cry. It's important to laugh, because we're not weird robot people. We have to honor our emotions as they come. But those ebbs and flows, they happen throughout the entire world. They happen throughout, you know, every living thing that grows, that has that ebb and flow. And so it really honors that water that connects each and every one of us, because without water, there's no life. And without those cycles of water, it couldn't maintain the life that we have. And so it teaches us to really be thankful for water, be thankful for our emotions, be thankful for our tears, and honor them as they come, because that's truly what makes us who we are. That's what connects us to each other. And also it connects us to ourselves. So this, oh, there's a cat. I was about to grab him instead of my drum. Sorry. Monkey, hi. So I will grab my drum and sing the water song. Hello. Excuse me. I'm gonna drum now. Excuse me. Sorry. So there's two parts of the song. There's that gentle part, and then there's the stronger part, and it gets faster and faster and faster. I love doing this with people because, you know, there's sometimes when you get faster, it gets a little crazy, and it reminds me a lot of when the rain falls, or when the water's really rushing like a babbling brook, and there's not necessarily, it's not completely synced, but it's completely beautiful. Wishita do ya, do ya, do ya. Wishita do ya day. Wishita do ya, do ya, do ya. Wishita do ya day. Wishita do ya, do ya, do ya. Wishita do ya day. Wishita do ya, do ya, do ya. Wishita do ya day. Wishatanaya, hey ya, hey ya. Wishatanaya, hey ya, hey. Wishatanaya, hey ya, hey ya. Wishatanaya, hey ya, hey. Wishatanaya, hey ya, hey ya. Wishatanaya, hey ya, hey. Wishatanaya. hey, wish I didn't ya, hey, 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 hey, wish I do ya, do ya, do ya, wish I do ya, do ya, day, wish I do ya, do ya, do ya, wish I do ya, do ya, day, wish I do ya, do ya, do ya, wish I do ya, do ya, day, wish I do ya, do ya, do ya, wish I do ya, do ya, day, wish I didn't ya, hey, hey, 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 wish I do ya, do ya, do ya, wish I do ya, do ya, day, do ya, do ya, wish I do ya, do ya, day, wish I do ya, do ya, do ya, wish I do ya, do ya, day, wish I do ya, do ya, do ya, wish I do ya, do ya, day. I love that song. So, another story that's kind of been popping in my head is the snare story. I call it the snare story. I can't remember, but my auntie Frida Hiniku actually had put it in a book. It was a really beautiful book. And so, a long time ago, there was a young man, a little boy. He was probably about 10, maybe 11. He wasn't quite of age to go hunting with the men, but he was really, really adept at weaving snares. And so he would trap little things all the time, like rabbits or mice or ferrets or muskrats, whatever he could trap. And his kukum, his grandma, was really, really thankful for that because her husband had passed and her sons had all gone off with their respective wives. But one of them had unfortunately passed in battle, and so this is why she had been taking care of her grandson. And so her grandson was always really, really helpful in the house, and so she really, really appreciated him. And she was always sharing, teachings about never leave your snares unattended, never make a snare too big, never make a snare too small, just so you could respect and honor the animals, and so it would be very quick for them, and so you wouldn't hurt them. And so he would listen to them, but sometimes he wasn't really paying attention. And one day he was just kind of wandering through the forest like he loved to wander far from home. And he saw this path because he always knew where to leave his snares because he could see the paths of where animals would go. And so as he was looking up, he saw this huge path through the trees. And he thought, wow, I wonder what kind of an animal goes down that path. I wonder if I could weave a snare large enough to catch that animal. And so he kept gathering twigs and different things and different ropes and different shavings from trees for about a month until he was able to weave together a large enough snare for whatever that animal could be that kept walking up and down that path daily. He knew it was daily because it kept getting larger and deeper. And so one morning he woke up and he had it beautifully made, and his grandmother said, "What is that snare for, grandson?" And he said, "Well, Cookum, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to try something different." And his Cookum said, "You better be careful because you never know. You don't want to catch the wrong thing, and it could be something that you don't want to catch at all." And the grandson was like, "I'm sure it'll be fine." And then his grandmother said, "But you don't leave that snare unattended, grandson, because you never know what's going to happen." And he wasn't really paying much attention. So he said, "Okay, Kokum," and then he ran off to play. And then he set the snare along that giant path through the trees. And as he did, he got really excited, wondering what kind of an animal he was going to ensnare. And he knew he wasn't supposed to leave it out overnight, but he did anyway because the animal didn't come by all day. And so he went to bed. And then he woke up in what he thought was the morning, but everything was really dark. And he knew it felt like the morning. And he looked outside and all of the animals looked really confused. And he looked up in the sky and the sun had not risen. And his grandmother, his Cookum, looked at him and said, "Grandson, what did you catch in your snare the other day?" And he said, "Well, Cookum, I'm not sure." And she said, "Grandson, did you leave that snare unattended?" And he said, "Cookum, I did. I have to go see what's stuck in the snare." And so in the dark, he kind of wandered around, trying to find and remember exactly where he'd put the snare, but it's so dark. Everything looked so different in the dark. But then as he got closer to where he thought the snare was, it started to get brighter and brighter and brighter, and his eyes began to hurt as he was looking for the snare because it was so bright. And as he looked, he did see his snare. And within his snare was the sun. And the sun was burning really, really brightly and really, really warmly. She started to scorch the trees all around it. And he knew that his snare had caught something really that he shouldn't have caught. And so he asked the animals to help him because he kept trying to get close to the snare, but it was too bright and he couldn't see where his knife was trying to go, and it was too hot, so he couldn't get close enough to cut the snare properly. And so he asked the animals, and so the bear tried to climb up and scratch, but his paws got all burnt underneath, and so now this is why he has both paws. And so he couldn't do it. Different animals kept trying and failing. The woodpecker kept trying, but as it pecked, it actually burnt part of his comb. So this is why his comb's bright red. And so many different animals tried and failed, and then finally the tiny little mouse said, "Well, let me try." And the little boy said, "But you're just a mouse. You're so tiny. How are you supposed to do it? None of these other big animals were able to get close enough to the sun." And the mouse said, "Well, I'm going to do my best." And so the mouse climbed higher and higher and higher until none of the animals could see anything but her little silhouette against the sun. And then she started to chew, and she chewed harder and faster and harder and faster and harder and faster until there was a loud snap, and the snare snapped away, and the sun flew high back into the sky. And the sun declared that he would never come close to the earth again, but be up high enough that no one could reach him. And as that little boy gathered his snare up, he saw how burnt the snare was. And then he asked the little mouse if she was okay. And the mouse smiled and said, "Of course, I freed the sun." But the mouse's little teeth were all burnt, all brown. So this is now why the mouse has brown teeth. But it's also why they continue to grow and grow and grow, and why the best chewers. And so that is how the mouse got his brown teeth. Oh, that's the name of the story, how the mouse got his brown teeth. Awesome. So I'm going to share a nice little song. This is the thank you grandparents, because if that little boy would have listened to his grandparents, he would have, or his grandmother, he would have known, his cookum, he would have known, don't leave that snare up for the sun. So this is the Anishinaabe thank you to our grandparents song. I learned this in passing from Jessica McMahon, actually. It just makes me happy to sing this song. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about. I was reminded that we're a little more than a month away from the Valentine's Day Memorial March, and it's probably going to look really different this year than it has in previous years. So I'm just kind of watching the news and listening to find out kind of what the new protocols will be at the time. And so I think it's really, really important that we just continue. So with Sisters in Spirit this year, which is always October 4th, put that in your calendar if you've never been to a Sisters in Spirit March. It is so important because it really helps to share, that you care for the people in the community, those women and girls and Two-Spirit people, and even all of our men that we've lost, all of our Indigenous brothers and sisters that have been missing or have been murdered or we don't have answers for, we don't have justice for. We do these marches not just for them because they have passed on, but we do it for their families to show that they have that community support. They have, those people in community that have not forgotten, and it gives people an opportunity to really remember in depth the people that we have lost, and really keep hope for and strive for justice, strive for answers, and in some cases strive for hoping that people will come home. But yeah, I think it's really important that we continue to do these events. And so with the Valentine's Day Memorial March, it's a little trickier. So sometimes we're blessed with really beautiful weather in October. So Sisters in Spirit, usually we're pretty good. And where we march for Sisters in Spirit, it's a little bit more conducive to physical distancing, but with the Valentine's Day Memorial March, we usually do it at the Scarborough United Church. We usually do it inside because it's usually really cold in February, and they have blessed us by donating that space to us every year so that we can continue to do it. But I'm not sure how many people we're allowed to safely have in the church. We'll see how everything goes, but stay tuned. If anything, we might just change the route of the march and where we start and where we end the march. So it won't be as long of an event this year, but we will still be there. We will still hear those stories along the way. And I think that's really important. We'll, of course, carry those red cutouts and to really remember those women that we have lost. Also, I know we've lost more, so I wouldn't mind actually getting a crew together to make some more red cutouts, or even just add names to the existing cutouts that we do have. So if you'd like to volunteer, let me know. So, but let me know in like a week or so once we kind of figure out what's going on with all of these new protocols that are in place. But that being said, I wanted to share the Women's Honor Song on the Gaya. This is a song from Joan Henry, who's Arapaho and Cherokee, and she has really beautiful music. This song really resonated with myself and my mom, and so we learned it together. And it's just a really beautiful way to just connect to who we are as women. So even with the beat, we can feel, ourselves pulsing with the beat, honoring the beat. It's almost like when you pick up a baby and you're trying to console them. There's like this bounce that you get just instinctively, and it's that instinctive bounce, like that instinctive pulse that women have, that we have, that connection to Mother Earth, that pulse that is all around us, all of the plants and the animals. Everyone has a pulse. Every living thing, every living being has a pulse, which helps it to grow, which helps it to thrive. And we can really feel that throughout this song. And Anagaya is just a way to honor all of the strong women in our lives, all of the strong community members, and that female spirit in each and every one of us, because it's not just limited. Everybody's a balance of masculine and feminine, but we all have people in our lives that we need to honor and really appreciate. And this song helps us to really do that. And so this is Anagaya, the Women's Honor Song. Oops. Anagaya, weha weha, weha no way, weha weha, weha weha, weha Anagaya, weha weha, weha no way, weha weha, weha weha. way high, way high, we are. We how we are, we how no way, we how we are, we how we are, we no way, no way, we no way, we are, we no way, no way, we oh hey, we are, way high, way high, way high, we are. We Awesome. I like shook the room with that one. That was awesome. So, sit down for a second. It's very dry in my room. Another song like that we share a lot at the marches and rallies, of course, has been the Strong Woman Song. There's also the Women's Warrior Song, which over the coming weeks I'll be sharing those pretty regularly, just so people feel empowered to be able to sing them when we're marching together. I think that's such a gift to be able to share our voices and to be able to drum together. There's such power in singing together and coming together as a community to be able to raise our voices in that way. It's such a gift. And so this is why I think it's really important to maintain sharing those songs and sharing those stories. And I think it's really also important to understand that there's no such thing as ownership when it comes to those community songs, because they are things that need to be shared so that we can really heal together and come together and build those bridges and really strive for that, the change that we need. And we can't do that through those really colonial concepts of ownership. I was really thinking about that in depth today, where when people came to Turtle Island and they were trying to sign treaties, and there was this concept of ownership, and we never really had that concept of ownership. We were always sharing things, we were always giving things, and what really is troubling is when the colonizers came, they had a sense of ownership over people. They had a sense of ownership over their own family. Like if you were a man, that was your wife. Your wife was your property, or your children are your property. And that's really disheartening, because how can a spirit be owned by anything or anyone? And so I think we need to really evaluate where we're coming from when we look at ownership over specific things. I think it's important to honor where those things come from. For example, when I sing songs, I'll say, oh, this came from this person, or I learned it from this person. But it's not like ownership, but it's honor. I think there's a difference between ownership and honoring. So that being said, I'm going to share the Strong Woman Song, which is the Turtle Song, because we need to learn it. And to me, this song, when I first heard it, I heard it as the Turtle Song before I heard the Strong Woman Song, because I heard it when I was growing up. But this is the reason it's become the Strong Woman Song, is because the turtle is directly connected to the woman. When we look at the turtle, it has 13 bumps in the center to represent that those 13 moons in a year. That's grandmother moon, but then we also have 13 moons in our cycle as women. And when we look around the edges, it has 28 ridges to represent the 28 days in a moon cycle, which so happens to be 28 days in our moon cycle. So this is why it's called our moon time. So if we ever need a reminder, if we're sacred, all we have to do is look up in the sky and remind ourselves, you know, there's a reason we go through this cleansing. And also the moon teaches us that it's okay to give things away, but we also have to rebuild, because that's what the moon does. Every 28 days, she gives herself away, and then she comes back and shines her brightest, and it reminds us that we need to do that as well. And so the turtle does that as well. So the turtle is what carries us, Turtle Island. This is why we call our world Turtle Island, is because it nurtures us, it feeds us, it grows us, and it houses all life, which is what Mother Earth is. It's all life. And so this is why the turtle song became the Strong Woman song, because it's that strength that the turtle had to carry all of us and carry all of our lives upon her back. And it's the strength that the moon has by giving herself completely and then replenishing herself and reminding us to do the same. And so, I haven't sang in a while, so my throat's a little sore. So this is the Strong Woman song, also known as the Anishinaabe Turtle Song. Also, this song was used for recidivism, I think I said that right, a program in an Ontario jail to rehabilitate women who were lost in the system, because unfortunately, once you get into the justice system, it's really difficult to get out. And for Indigenous women, we're coming from a place of trauma and pain and abuse and hurt. And so a lot of the times that we're we're involved in the justice system or the foster system, it's because of those long-standing intergenerational trauma issues. And what this program did is it actually made you proud of who you are as an Indigenous woman. I think it's important to be able to reclaim who we are as Indigenous people, to be able to, you know, honor that we are sacred, we are special, we have gifts that we can share, and we're not less than anyone else. This is what the circle teaches us. Nobody's greater or less than anyone. And so this program, what it did is it helped reconnect women to their culture, to their ancestors, to their families, to ceremony, to medicines, and to the songs and the stories, which gave them that confidence and that sense of self and the sense of well-being, but also fostered healing. And I know on my own journey, it was reconnecting to my teachings. It was reconnecting to my stories and my songs and the ceremonies that helped me heal. It helped me to break that own cycle of intergenerational trauma with my own children. So they have never experienced that. They only know, you know, love, unconditional love, and understanding, and how to be proud of who they are as Indigenous people. And I'm blessed and I'm gifted that I'm able to share that, because that is part of my healing journey. And if it can be part of somebody else's healing journey, I think that's such a gift. And that's really what this song did for all of those women. And for all of the women that were involved in that program, this was their theme song. And all of those women that were in that program, 92% never reoffended. So it goes to show that really honoring who you are, honoring your roots, and honoring ceremony, honoring stories and songs and your culture, it really infuses you with a sense of worth and well-being and belonging and community, and your sense of spirit, recognizing that you are valuable, you are connected to spirit, you are part of this community, and it really is a powerful thing. So this is the Strong Woman song. Oops. And when I sing it, I go up a little bit each time, and that just, to me, it signifies rising above any of the challenges and coming into our strength, coming into who we are. And I also do it with a women's beat, which is the heartbeat. Awesome. So I'm just going to share like, I got two travel songs. They're both Anishinaabe. The Thunderbird Song is, I've used for many, many years as a travel song because a Thunderbird puts us on the path that we need to be on. And there's also the other Thunderbird song that I learned from my elder, Sharon Poo Turner, which came back to me through my friend Yolanda. And it was just a gift to be able to have those songs come back. But yeah, I think I'll sing that one. So this is the travel song. I hope you have a beautiful week ahead. I hope you have a wonderful journey throughout this year. And I hope that if you are in Malkinstis, if you're in Calgary, I hope to see you at the Valentine's Day Memorial March, however that might look this year. So stay tuned. I'll probably do a little bit of updates throughout this every Tuesday. So hi everybody. And I will see you next week. I may or may not have a different setup because this one's kind of freaking me out. But love you all. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Tuesday.